everyone, this is Rebecca Keppel. I'm super excited to be here on ThermOWeb's YouTube channel and really excited to share with you a couple of cards I made for the ThermOWeb Heffy Doodle swap, where I altered some of the ThermOWeb Metallix Gels. So this is the first set that I'm going to use. I'm going to use the White Pearl Metallics with some Alcohol Pearls by Tim Holtz Ranger. First, I'm going to start with my Pixie spray, and the Pixie spray really holds your stencil in place. This stencil is by Heffy Doodle. I'm going to put it over a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of Turquoise C cardstock by Gina Designs for ThermOWeb. And now I'm going to do some ink blending over that using Distress Oxide Blueprint Sketch. This is just to get some base color on top of that turquoise cardstock, and you'll see when I peel it off that you're going to get a really pretty effect of multicolor blues. Now I'm going to take the Metallix gel. I am working on a glass mat so that I can use my alcohol inks and the Metallix gel, and I just have a palette knife and I'm just going to mix them together. So I needed quite a bit of those alcohol inks to really get that color to start to shine through, but once it did, it was so pretty because you have the pearl from the White Pearl Metallix gel, and then you also have the pearl in the alcohol ink as well. Usually I would just take this and put it on the stencil pal and then just run it all the way across. I kind of want a different look. I want this to look like waves or foam from waves, so I don't want it completely covered. So check that out. You get the different colors from the Distress Oxide ink, the cardstock, and that white pearl that is colored with the alcohol pearls. And I just love this background. I thought it was so much fun to make. And I had all this extra, so I thought I would create a secondary background just using it like I normally do, where I cover up the whole stencil using that stencil pal and just swipe it straight across. The stencil pal is great because it's flexible and it is wide, so you can really get a nice even application of the Metallix gels. And the Pixie spray works great, keeps it in place so you get nice crisp clean lines when you're using mixed media like this. And I love this background too. Look at how pretty that is against the white. So now I have two different backgrounds that are perfect for the Oceans of Love stamp set. But the next thing I'm going to do is color my Metallix gels using some Copic ink. So I have this refill for my Copic markers, and then I'm matching it with some pink cardstock and some pink ink. But the first thing we're going to do is spray the back of the stencil with some Pixie spray. Again, this is a repositionable adhesive spray. It's light tack, so it doesn't tear your project, but it keeps it in place. And I love to spray it over the glass mat so that my cardstock sticks in place too. So my cardstock is stuck to the glass mat, my stencil is stuck to the cardstock, and you can see I can do lots of ink blending and fun, and it's not going to move anywhere. So this is a really light, subtle look, and I love it. I'll be doing this again just like this. But I wanted to do something really fun with the metallic, so I'm going to swap the stencil around, rotate it so that we have kind of a checker look once we're done here. So I did my lines horizontally, now I'm doing them vertically. Again, I am using the Deco Foil Metallix Gel in White Pearl. This time I'm mixing it with that Copic refill. And that is also an alcohol-based product. So I know that the alcohol-based products work really, really well tinting the Metallix gels. You'll have to try some other products if you're interested, but I know that alcohol works perfectly, these alcohol products. So I am just mixing this up, and look at that pretty pink hue that I got out of the White Pearl Metallix gel mixed with the Copic. Again, I'm putting it on the stencil pal. This time I'm just going to use the stencil as is and create a really, really fun look because we ink blended horizontally and then I put the Metallix gels on vertically. So I have this little checkerboard look, which I think is a really cute, fun background. I'm going to respray my stencil because I'm going to lay it down now diagonally, and I am going to use the remainder of that pink gel on top of some dark cardstock. I wanted to show you how pretty it looks on top of dark cardstock because you get that really nice contrast between the dark cardstock and the lighter Metallix gels, and I love this one too. So this one I did have to cut down because of the way that I placed the stencil. I didn't get the corners the right way, but that's okay. I just trimmed it down. Okay, for this last one, I am actually going to mix some Deco foil metallics with some glitter. And I'm going to do that for the Bots of Love stamp set. And I have some Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide ink. Once again, I'm going to spray the back of my stencil over my glass mat with some Pixie spray, lay that down so my cardstock sticks to the glass mat and the stencil sticks to my cardstock. I'm going to ink blend first with the Distress Oxide Hickory Smoke, and I am just going to create those little lightning bolts that come from the center of the card in a slightly darker color of gray than the cardstock is. And I really like that look. I think that's so much fun. You could leave it as is, but of course I want to have even more fun. So I'm going to just kind of tilt the stencil a little bit, and then I'm going to spray it back down. And now I am using the Glazed Pewter Metallics, and I'm mixing it with some Simon Says Stamp fine glitter. It's called Unicorn Dust. I'll link everything down below so you guys can check out the products as well. And I'm just mixing a ton of it in there because it is so fine that it gets kind of lost in the Metallix gel unless you use a whole bunch of it. Once again, I am going to put it on the edge of my stencil pal so that I can run it over that stencil and get a nice, even, clear application. I decided to just spritz some on top, some more of this loose glitter, and just to add a little bit more of that glitter on top just for a fun effect. I felt like it was, again, getting lost in the metallics, and I really wanted it to stand out with some really, really bright glittery effects. So there you go. That was really easy too. If you are somebody who's not fond of loose glitter, as I normally am not, you can try out the Gina K Glitter Glitz Gels. Those glitter glitz gels come in a rainbow of colors. They are as easy to apply as the Metallix gels, and I just did them over a little bit of ink blending with some Unicorn Pigment ink by Hero Arts. Okay, so let's take a look at all these backgrounds. Here are the two ocean backgrounds that I created, and here are the two big thick stripe backgrounds that I created, and then finally here are the two glittery backgrounds that I created. All 6 of these backgrounds we're going to turn into cards using some Heffy Doodle stamps. Okay, this stamp set is called Oceans of Love, so I'm just stamping some of the characters there. Then we have Yappy Happy Mail, and finally Bots of Love. So I just stamped out a bunch of characters from all 3 stamp sets, and then just did some really basic Copic coloring. Nothing fancy, not even really any blending or anything like that. Just wanted to add some color to those. And now it is time to turn the characters and backgrounds into cards and to add some sentiments using those same stamp sets. So I cut out some circles with the Gina K for ThermOWeb dies, and now I'm going to stamp in Versamark ink a sentiment from the Oceans of Love set, and I'm going to cover it with white embossing powder and heat emboss that. I'm going to add some Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb foam squares to the back of that circle, and then peel off those protective backings and pop that up, and that card is pretty much done. Okay, for this one I cut out a little banner there, and I wanted to put the sentiment right on the banner, so I put that inside the cutout part, and now I'm going to stamp it using my MISTI so that it perfectly places the stamp onto the banner there. And I love how it says, "I really hope to see you soon." So for this one, I cut out a circle of vellum just to add kind of a bubble effect onto our ocean background. And now I'm putting some of our characters on that vellum, popping a couple up with that Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb foam square, and then some of them I'm just using the Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb tape roller there. It's the dot roller. Okay, and those 2 cards are done. So for the Yappy Happy Mail, here are the 2 cards that I created. Again, really, really simple. Just wanted to stamp the sentiment for one onto a gray rectangle cardstock that I did die cut with Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb rectangle dies, and I'm doing the same for the other one. This one's going to be vertical though. The other one's horizontal. This one's vertical. Again, white embossing powder, heat emboss those, and then adhere them down to the card, and then mix and match whether their little characters are dimensional or flat to the card, just to give lots of interest and dimension. I love these little pups. They're so cute to color and so much fun to add to a card. I love that little mailbox and all the little letters as well. So those are those two cards with the backgrounds that were the thick stripes. And then last but not least, the glittery backgrounds I decided to use with the Bots of Love stamp set. So I'm including a couple of robots on this oval that I die cut with a Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb oval die, and then adding some of the little accessories and the sentiment. And for this one, with all the kind of lightning bolts, I'm going to put the little robot right in the center. I have a big banner with a card full of love, and those two cards are easily created as well. I had so much fun altering my favorite Deco foil Metallix gels with alcohol pearls, with Copic marker refills, and with glitter. If you're interested in any of the products that I used today, they will all be linked down below for you. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'd like to thank Heffy Doodle for sponsoring this awesome swap. Thanks so much. Have a great day.